Welcome to Module 1, Lesson 2. Now, by the time you watch this video, you have engaged in Cornell Notes. Not quite finished the Cornell Notes, however. All you had to do was just write the notes. So, the teaching principles that are in this lesson are, once again, getting students to do homework and also helping students to navigate through difficult text. Before we talk about the text one, let's talk about homework. Um, Before in the last video, I talked about one reason why students don't do homework is because not necessarily because they're lazy or they don't want to, it's because they don't know how to, and figuring out how often turns them off. So what I mentioned was having a staple homework assignment, something that they know how to do to take away one obstacle. Um, Another way to get students to do homework is have them be able to use their homework. Um, and it's human nature. If we're doing something and we know if we're made to do something, but we know there's going to be no use, maybe we're just doing it just to do it. We're not going to put on our best effort. That's sometimes it's like that. So, in order to take that reason, that obstacle away from students, maybe you can institute some sort of a program where the students are using their homework. So the way I do it with Cornell Notes is at home. I'll have them take the notes. Then when they get to school, for the first 5 minutes while I'm taking roll and doing all that other stuff, I have them take out their notes, read it, and then they add the questions. They annotate their notes. They might draw little pictures, whatever they do, and they write a summary. That serves a few different purposes. One, it gives me time to take roll and do all that stuff, which doesn't take 5 minutes, but sometimes we have other stuff to take care of before we actually start the day. Two, it's a way to hold them accountable. When I'm quickly done doing the role, I walk around and I have like little pads to mark down who did their homework and who didn't. Sometimes I'm not really marking anything, just to let them know that I'm checking. And it's a way to hold them accountable. And three, if you take a look at the infographic that's posted, it talks about the forgetting curve, and it shows us data based on neurological research that shows that the more times you look at something, the better chance you have of remembering it. So, by doing Cornell Notes this way, the students are looking at that information or dealing with that information at least 3 times. One, when they read it the first time. Two, when they synthesize it and take the notes. Three, when they're looking at their notes and writing the questions. And four, when they write their summary. So that's a really quick way to get students to look at something 4 times. So that's something you can try. It's worked very well for me. What I do is they take notes every night at home, and I'll collect all their homework on Fridays, all their notes. So let's say they have 4 notes that I collect. Then what I do is after that I choose a random day, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then what I do is whatever day I choose randomly, those are the only notes that I grade, and I tell them if you didn't do your homework that week, then it's like you didn't do any of it. And if you only did Tuesday's homework and by chance I picked Tuesdays, then you got lucky. So that holds them accountable, and also what it does is it gives me less work to grade, so we both win. Just a word about homework. Now, text, reading difficult text. So again, what we're working towards is getting our students ready for some current event that we're going to introduce. And all what we're doing now is with this homework assignment and now with these reading texts is getting us ready to get to this point where the students can handle something that's going on in each day and be able to talk about it. And one way to introduce that in history class to get students ready for some sort of current event are through primary and secondary sources. Oftentimes, especially when we're dealing in history of the past, it's written in very different English, and it can be difficult for students, even us as educators. So what I learned is you can't just say, all right, students, go read this and tell me what it means tomorrow. Oftentimes students don't have the confidence to read those things, so sometimes they slip up or they say, they get discouraged. So what I found that helpful is teaching students specific reading strategies. Below attached, you'll find the marking the text strategy. So what it is, it's we all have little a system that we when we read, when we want to annotate what we read, maybe some of us circle, maybe some of us do stars or exclamation points or different things like that. But for those of us who have a system like that, it's taken us years to develop it, right? Maybe in college we developed it, whatever the case may be, but our students maybe haven't been asked to read a whole lot, or they were never allowed to write and stuff, so maybe they don't have those skills and strategies that we've developed. So marking the text is a cool strategy that teaches them how to do that. So what it is it takes you through different steps. One is numbering the paragraph, so that way if you're talking to somebody about it, like, hey, what'd you think of paragraph 7 or whatever, it's an easy way to make reference to a specific part of the text. Second is circling keywords. The keywords could be words that are repeated often, words that just sound important to students. 3 is underline the author's claims. You might have to explain claim to students because that can be tricky. And 4 is writing in the margins, just taking little notes on the margins. So that's a really good strategy for students. I found that if you teach them, they do it, and it's helpful for them. So that's something that you can show the students. So for the assignments that you will have to do for this lesson 2, is go back, look at those core notes, and annotate it. So basically, annotate the notes, write your questions on the margin and the summary at the bottom. That's your first assignment. And your second assignment is to print out the excerpt from Century of Dishonor, read the text, and practice the marking the text activity. We're going to talk about Native Americans. As you read about Native Americans. This article is about, this excerpt from a book is about Native Americans. The topic that we're learning about, that we're going to use to learn about how to bring outside occurrences into the classroom, the topic that we're going to be learning about using is Native Americans. Okay, so thank you very much. Bye.